Welcome to this week's leadership video. Pretty big boulder I'm sitting on. Probably weighs several hundred pounds. If I were to ask you, can I lift this thing up? Many of you might say, nah, there's not a chance of it, Dan. You're way too old for that. Actually, it wouldn't be that difficult to lift it up at all. Not if I went out and got a bobcat, dug underneath it, grabbed it in the scoop, lifted it right up. You see that when some of us look at life's challenges and we see why they can't get moved, the boulders in our life, and others of us look for opportunities to how can I get that done. This week I was reading an article and it gave me a little bit different perspective on optimism. It said the opposite of optimism is not pessimism, but the opposite of optimism is learned helplessness. Oftentimes we learn that we can't do this, we can't do that. I was talking to a lady today who has been a teacher in one of the poorest sections, poorest school districts in Phoenix. She's been working with third graders, many of them who barely speak English at all, who go back home into homes where they don't speak English. And she says when she gets those students, frequently they tell her what they can't do. And she tells them what they can do. And all around the room, she has banners of the great universities of our country. And at the end of the year, when these students took their test scores, their AIMS tests, instead of testing at a third grade level, they tested at a fifth grade level. She was so excited as she talked about it and said, these children can do it. Paul was writing to the Corinthians. And in 2 Corinthians, in chapter 12, Paul's talking about a time when he thought he couldn't do it, and he was explaining to God that, God, I'm just too weak to get this done. And God said to him, 2 Corinthians 12, verse 9, but God said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong. Writing to the Philippians about the different experiences he was having, he concludes this section by saying this, I can do everything through him who gives me strength. Friends, if you're watching this video, it's very likely that you're functioning in a leadership role. You're helping others along in their spiritual walk. I'm not exactly positive what that role is for you, but I want you to understand something. We are not helpless. Maybe the area of helplessness you feel is in sharing your faith, and you just don't feel strong enough to do it. I am telling you right now, you are not helpless. God is able to do a mighty work through you. Maybe you're struggling with the small group that you're leading. And you say, I don't think we're ever going to move on in spiritual growth. He who is in you is stronger than he who is in the world. You can do it. That's just not positive talk. That's God's word, saying that through Christ who strengthens me, I can do everything. This week, leaders, I want you to take on challenges. I want you to find those areas of your ministry that say it was just too big. Maybe it's in the area of recruitment. Maybe it's in the area of trying to get more volunteers to help you in your area of ministry. Maybe it's trying to recruit more people into your small group. I just want to tell you that you can do it. Honest. We have a great God with great power. So don't look at a boulder as something that can't be moved. Instead, go find a backhoe and move that boulder.